Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another transfer special on the Rams Review podcast. Derby County have been linked this morning with a move for a 23-year-old Norwegian center half. And I'm going to butcher this, but he's from Viking in Norway, where Lars Salvason has just come from. His name is Sondre Langås, and he's a 23-year-old center half, like I said, Norwegian international. And reportedly, Derby have agreed a fee of roughly £4 million for him. This news has kind of come out of nowhere. Derby were chasing a championship experienced center half. It's kind of made its way on social media in recent hours and has even been tweeted out by Fabrizio Romano himself because Derby are massive. And when Fabrizio tweets it out, it's probably going to happen because he is the guy who knows everything about transfers. That man is so well connected. He's like a multi-tangled octopus. Like, I don't know how many legs he could possibly have, but he knows everybody. And we know people too. So we decided that we were only going to get one guy back on. And that's Lars from the Viking Podden. Lars, if Lars is joining us again, he was with us for the Lars Salvason video. And now Lars is back. Lars, welcome back to the Rams Review podcast. It's great to see you. I didn't think it'd be this soon, but it's fantastic to see you.
Yeah, it's nice. This is becoming a recurring event. It's good to be back, even though we're a bit sad to lose Sondre because he's a great player and a great guy. And maybe, is it Derby that's massive or Viking? I don't know.
I think we're both massive. I think that
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. I think that we're both massive. I'm all into Viking and Derby playing each other in like a preseason friendly now. I'm like well into that. I will come to Norway. We will hang out. I'll get the Viking shirt because you're putting me to shame with the amount of Derby shirts that you have. Wearing the vintage teal one as well. So Lars, again, thanks so much for taking the time on such short notice. What is your response to the news about Sondre Langås's move to Derby County?
I was quite shocked. I was at work and looking forward to attending the first game this year. We play the first preseason match tonight, and we were looking forward to see Sondre Langås in the defense there. But all of a sudden, big things happening in Viking. I was, I don't know if gobsmacked is a good word, but I think I've heard that somewhere before.
Yeah, it's always weird when these moves kind of come out the blue and you're like, okay. And just so you know, Lars, out of, interest, Derby is reportedly close to selling our homegrown center half, Aaron Cashin, to Brighton and Hove Albion of the Premier League for £9.5 million roughly. So we brought in a defensive replacement last week. But our other center half, he tore his knee up, so he's going to be out for the season. So
Okay.
We probably need defensive recruitments. And maybe Lars Salvason went into Paul Warren and said, hey, I know a guy. But it's good to see that you guys are coming back from preseason training. When we spoke 3 weeks ago, you kind of just returned. You were in Spain, and now you're back doing games. Lars, talk to me about this player because he's 23. He's a Norwegian international, like we said. That's pretty good pedigree. Playing at international for your country at any level is pretty good. How important is this player to Viking? And is this a system of the offer's too good for Viking to turn down? Or is it Viking, again, like Lars Jorgen, has other players in that position who are younger and better? Or is it just this money's too good to turn down?
This time it's too good an offer to turn down. Sondre came to Viking the summer of 2023 to be a long-term prospect. We had a great defender called David Brekalo, who's now in the US and played in the Euros for Slovenia. So when we sold him last year, everyone was very worried that it would be it would be a tough season. But Sondre Langås really made those predictions fall through because he was really solid all through last year. He was the one player who played, I think, all the games and yeah, a really he was the best player. We had two good defenders, but one of them was injured for 10 games or so. So Sondre Langås had a really good season and was rewarded with an international with international games for Norway. He's a really fast player. His pace is I don't know if you use kilometers per hour, but he was clocked in at 37, which is high for Premier League status. So he has this really like, you can be good at many things, but if you have one thing that is elite level, then you can go quite far. And he's had a good development while in Viking, and it's yeah, we were hoping that he could bring the gold home for us, but now we have to look elsewhere for that.
Well, he is bringing the gold home for you because you're getting £4 million. So that seems like quite a bit of money as well. So in a way, it's a different kind of gold than what you were looking for, I bet. But
Yeah,
Lars, I was looking at his stats. He played 30 games last year, started all 30. And the thing that stuck out to me was, he only had 2 bookings the entire year. So disciplinary for a center half in the modern game, 2 bookings over the course of a season is a remarkable statistic in my mind. Just shows that, he maybe has something a bit about him.
yeah, I'd say that he's matured quite a lot this last year, and using his pace in a very smart way, using his body because he's grown a lot of muscles while in Viking, putting that into great use also. So yeah, it's a very exciting defender, I'd say.
Maybe I need to show up to Viking because I could do with some muscles as well if they have a program there because I don't have too many of them. Um, Lars, you talked a little bit about it just now. His pace is that his biggest attribute, and what are the strengths of Sondre Langås?
Yeah, the pace is definitely the standout stat, or what you would call it, because yeah, as I said, he's probably one of the quickest player, fastest player in the league, and putting that into good use. He's, as I said, taking great steps maturity wise, and uh, he also when he came to Viking, he was a bit because we like to play with the ball, and that wasn't one of his strengths, but he has really made good progress on that front as well. So he's good with the ball. He's good without the ball. He's yeah. If it's hard to point out an obvious weakness, I'd say, because he's good in so many areas. He didn't score so many goals, but you know.
Yeah, well, that's the one thing that might improve. And I was going to ask you about weaknesses, but if there's no obvious weaknesses, we can just gloss over that question. Um, Derby are very good at set pieces. They've scored quite a few goals this year at set pieces and things like that. So he might get more opportunities as Derby put balls into the box, do these dead ball situations to put his big head on one and put one in the back of the net. So it's exciting to hear. He sounds like a really exciting prospect. Um, you know, Obviously you guys play the first preseason game tonight. He's had the preseason training. Derby are in a relegation battle. Lars Jorgen's kind of hit the ground running in a way. He scored his first goal at the weekend, which was just lovely to see. Lars, you already convinced me. He's my favorite player. Like he's been there 2 games, and I'm just so in love with the guy.
That's good. Glad to hear it.
Is this the kind of player that you feel can come in and kind of hit the ground running, or is the physicality of the championship, the standard of the league, and no disrespects to the Norwegian league, is this something that he has the physical attributes at 6'3" with muscles, the ability to kind of step up to, or do you think there'll be a slight learning curve for him?
As I said the last time we talked, this is the hard question because I'm not that familiar with the league. But if he, from the reports, the players in Viking has been looking sharp, and they had a good run of training. So he shouldn't be very far off. Of course, he hasn't played proper matches since December, but I'd say that his physicality and his strength is I don't know how advanced their style of play is, but maybe as a defender it's easier to go in than it would be for a midfielder or even a striker. Yeah, they had been following Salvesen for quite a while, and while watching him, they obviously have seen Langås and this what you said about injuries and sales triggered it, but I think they had quite control of the player.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think that it's always easier for a defender to come in because when you're at the sharp end of the pitch and you're supposed to score goals, if Salvesen goes 5 games without a run or 6, they're like, oh, not good. What a waste of money. He can't hit the ground. Whereas a defender, not saying you can hide, but sometimes it's a little easier to integrate yourself into the team because you're not being relied on to win games. Like poor defense can lose you games, and it can, it can also win you games. But like the sharp end of the pitch is where kind of that kind of sneaks out. So it's nice to see that. Lars, a few minutes left here before I let you go to the first preseason game of the year.
Yeah.
Is he more comfortable in a 2 or is he more comfortable in a 3? Because Derby, the manager kind of wants to play a 3, but we can also adapt to a 2. Where is he most comfortable?
Viking has played with 4 in the defense, and occasionally when if we're up and depending how the game goes, they have been playing with 3 back, but I think he's comfortable in both, but is most experienced in the 4-4-3-3 formation that Viking has played.
Yeah, fair enough. And we texted a little bit before doing this show, because we're now friends, because we've done 2 videos together. That makes us official friends.
Of course.
And you said he's quite a character. Explain what you mean by that. What type of character is Sondre Langås?
First and foremost, he's a really great guy, and he's very kind. He came to Stavanger the summer of 2023, and he joined us in the podcast the next day, and he was in. We have kids that run. It's really cool. We have children running a podcast for children, and he visited them, and he's just really fun. Always making a good atmosphere, and there's always a lot of laughter with him. So we had him with Salvesen for a special last year, Players Corner, and it was just so fun to be in the room with them because he's not afraid to go out on a limb and like say something, and it gets funny. So people really love him, in both in the club, in the dressing room, and also the supporters, because as Salve, he's been great with the fans.
Yeah, and that's really good to hear that they have a good relationship, because I guess coming to a new country, new league, new culture, it can be a bit of a shock. But with him having Lars Jørgen Salvesen there, who was his teammate up until 3 weeks ago, it might help the adaptability of both players if they have kind of that buddy that's like, hey, we were here before. That can kind of help with that transition. And it sounds a really, really exciting and good signing. Anytime we sign a player from the continent, I get so excited. The guys on the podcast will tell you we signed a defender from Middlesbrough in the week who used to be at Derby. I was not very excited about it. I was kind of like, nah. But then all of a sudden they were like, we're going to sign a Viking defender. I was like, all in, don't even need to know. Already one of my favorite players. So
and international. He's played with Haaland.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's playing with Erling Haaland, and he's going to play with the striker who's way better than Haaland in Salvesen, who looks exactly the same. I mean, Haaland copied his hair off of Salvesen. Let's be clear here. And Lars Jørgen, but hopefully it leads to good things for all 3 clubs. Viking can hopefully use that money to buy 3 or 4 players. It's early enough also in your preseason that you can, it doesn't mess over your season, because you can still get a replacement in. Derby get a ready-made defender. And he gets an opportunity to play at a higher level, maybe get to the Premier League, get some more experience with the Norwegian national team. So Sondre Langås looks like he's on his way to Derby, and it looks a really exciting signing, Lars. I'm going to let you finish off with your thoughts on this potential transfer.
Sorry?
I'm going to let you finish off the pod with your thoughts on this transfer.
It's as you said, it's a good deal for both parts, I think, because the potential of Sondre Langås is, in my opinion, sky high. One of the most exciting central defenders in Norway, in my opinion. Could go on to be a regular in the international team, maybe getting you good profit in the other end. I of course, it's a player that we are sad to lose, but he's been great. He hasn't. It's been speculations around him, but he's been playing it down low, and it was expected for him to stay. But everyone around the club kind of understands this transfer, because it's a record sale for us. getting money in the bank, and yeah, you have to understand where we are when a big club in England with a lot of money comes onto the pitch. Then yeah, it's unfortunately for us, we have to let them go.
And
Maybe next year we won't be have to.
Yeah, because you'll have all that. You'll be flush with cash and everything like that. And
Yeah.
£4 million is a pretty significant fee. It's probably the largest transfer fee Derby's paid in. Ooh, I want to go out on a limb and say 4 years. If the £4 million is reportedly, and I'm sure that there's, that's including add-ons and appearance bonuses and different things like that. But if it's the £4 million, that's one of the highest transfer fees we have paid in several years. So big expectation around the lad, but seems like a really exciting prospect. So
yeah, and it takes his character onto the field as well, and a bit like Salve, really nice guy, great guy off the pitch. On the pitch, he'd probably be a pain to play against, both in his physical presence, but also getting in the face of opponents, sending some messages. Yeah, he's fun.
That's fantastic. I'm so in on this. Lars Risan from the Viking pod. And Lars, thank you so much for spending the last 15 minutes or so with me. Best of luck to Viking for the rest of the season, and hopefully we don't come back for any more players unless they're really good. In which case, just text me and then we'll get the deals done before deadline day.
Yeah, I'll send the list and we'll see what we can do.
Thanks, Lars. Appreciate it. Have a great evening, and best of luck to you this season. I hope we can catch up soon.
Yeah, same to you.